Welcome everyone back to Nerd TV for a Monday night full throttle sim racing Mach-1 Performance Cup Series race. Coming at you live from the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway road course style. Charlotte Roval 200 here. We're going to take 60 laps around this place. It is a nice little 2.28 mile small road course. If you haven't seen it before, which I know everyone tuning in has probably seen this track at least once or twice. So there's your weather on the screen there, 105 on the track, 79 in the skies. That temperature will drop as always, 46% humidity, very crisp air there in the Charlotte area. Partly cloudy, 9-mile-an-hour winds. It's a road course, not going to play a factor, so going to be a pretty great race here tonight. I know these places get a little strung out at times, but I think the Roval might surprise us a little bit. My name is Jeremy Stanley, aka Jay Swifty on the interwebs, and to my right-hand side, Mr. Jason Rockefeller. How are you doing this Monday night, sir?
I'm doing fine, man. I am ready for some left and right turns here at the Charlotte Roval. Yesterday was a pretty exciting race, to say the least, for the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs to end the round of 12, which is what we will be doing here tonight. I'm looking forward to tonight for sure.
100% here. Looks like we got 25 entries. We got a brand new driver. To not butcher the name entirely, I'm gonna try one time at it. Maybe our people that are watching can kind of correct me if so. It's Joseph Grijalva, I think is what we got down on our paper here, but we're gonna see what he can do tonight. And I'm kind of interested. We did some pre-race talk, Jason, about who. Actually, our producer Dustin too. He's the one who started that conversation. Who might have a first-time win here this evening here at the FTSR Mach-1 Performance Cup Series, and we kind of had our eye on either Danny LaFleur or Jose Acosta, which those guys have both been really fast. Jose has just been, lightning fast each and every single week, getting a little better and a little better. And so him and Danny, I think, are going to be one of the top two contenders here tonight. So I know Dustin backed me up on that. Jason, who did you have for tonight?
Yeah, it's going to be hard. I think the Moreau guys are going to be really, really strong with Danny, and obviously Nick is back as well. He's back at a road course. I also think that the Fury Motorsport guys are going to be really, really good. We've seen how good Tony Solari is. Michael Blackner won his way into the playoffs back at Watkins Glen. He was outside, was looking in afterwards due to that win at Watkins Glen. And not to mention the fact, too, Jeremy, coming into tonight, he is -9 out of the cutoff from 12th place, or 8th place, rather, which is actually held by his teammate, Brody Hannon. Brody is not that bad at road courses, but I definitely think Tony's a little better. Remember, him and Michael are kind of their road setup guys. I think that if there's anybody in this field when it comes to the 12 guys who are in the playoffs currently, I think Michael Blackner probably has the best chance out of them. I mean, you could also say Richie Coy as well, but Richie's already advanced. He's going to try everything he can to probably maybe do a little bit of blocking, maybe a little bit of manipulation to help his teammate out, obviously, because they want that Fury Motorsports driver to get in, but he also wants to make sure that Brody doesn't get left in the dust as well. So we'll have to see, but I really do think that Jose Acosta is going to be one to look out for as well. I mean, he was in the top 5 back at Watkins Glen. I mean, just to name the guys who were, obviously Michael Blackner won. You had Richie Coy, Tony Solari, Lane Allen, who was last week's winner at Talladega, and Jose Acosta. So I think those are definitely the 5 guys you're going to have to look for tonight. And obviously the Moreau guys being Danny LaFleur and Nicholas Moreau.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you there and just make a quick mention. We did start this broadcast just a touch bit late because they like to do the 10 minutes for qualifying here for the road course stuff. So we're just going to bring it out a little bit later because sometimes they bring it only 5 minutes deep into the qualifying, but we plan for the 10. So if you're joining us a touch bit late, that's exactly why. And I wanted to touch on that points situation you were talking about too, Jason. Let's kind of look at the speed charts from practice anyways. And a lot of the guys around 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, they are in the 1 minute, 21 second bracket. But kind of notating Brody Hanna and Ryan Hedrick, the 23 and the 47. They're both in the 22 second bracket. A little bit off from the race pace, which you're seeing the top 3, top 4 guys running 19 seconds. So that's over a second and a half, 2 seconds difference.
It's a big thing too, because obviously, yes, tire wear is going to be a little bit of a factor. Not as much with these cars, obviously per se compared to the Gen 6 cars. But this is a very technical racetrack. You got to remember, and we talked about this too today in our group chat. Me, you, and Dustin. We said, oh, it's going to be the Roval. It's going to get strung out. But at the same time, this is a very technical road course, and it's not a natural road course. Yes, you have the infield that's kind of natural, but it's not a Road America. It's not a Laguna Seca. It's not Le Mans. It's not the Nürburgring. It's not that. It is a track inside of a track that's not natural. The road course, when you look at road courses, they're all man-made when it comes to the ones like this, but all the ones like Road America, Road Atlanta, and like the ones I said, those are all tracks that are based on the terrain and then a little bit more man-made obstacles as well. So this is very technical, very tight. I think probably the most troublesome spot that's going to be where you're going to see the most trouble is coming into right here through turn 17 into the chicane before you get on right there to the front straightaway to the line, and then probably that backstretch chicane as well, which has been really devastating for a lot of drivers these past few years.
Yeah, there's so many tough angles on this track, and then we were just on board with the 27, Mr. Ryan Chapman, by Rock 93.5 driver here tonight. Now we're on board the roof camera of Jamie Knopp going around the middle of the back half. This part to me right here it's a really good place if you're going to make or break some times. Getting to that downhill, back to the uphill. You don't want to spin the tires. You definitely got to watch your throttle input there. Then you got to swing wide. Don't hit the outside wall. We've seen quite a few people do that yesterday in the real world. So very technical. And then you can breathe for a second. And then you have to hit the marks perfectly through here. If you go too short, you could get rear-ended if you got pressure behind you. If you go a touch bit too late, you're going to ramp over those turtles. And then you either going to have to stop and go there for the shortcut yield, or you just kind of hope for the best, hope your car doesn't spin on if you're going to go ahead and ramp the curb. So it's just really difficult here. And in this part, we saw multiple guys yesterday as well just overshoot the entrance just like this and either spin out, they get a wheel hop. It's just so many technical areas you can make or break your day here tonight.
Definitely. I mean, again, this is a 17-turn road course, and this was the initial Roval for NASCAR. And then obviously, as a couple of years went by, we had COVID. We started off with the Daytona Clash on the Daytona road course, which was a first, and it was on a Tuesday night. And then they went just a couple weeks later. We had the second race of the season be at the Daytona road course. So this was the very first Roval, and ever since 2018 with the inaugural race, people were thinking, I don't know, but everybody was like, all right, we'll give it a chance. Next thing you know, it was a fantastic race. Martin Truex Jr., Jimmy Johnson battle into the line. Jimmy overshoots the corner, gets into Martin Truex. They wreck. Not Dale Jr., but Ryan Blaney ends up coming through. There's been a lot of memorable moments here at the Charlotte Roval, and somebody's probably going to make a memorable moment for themselves here tonight at the Charlotte Roval. And Jeremy, just like you said, a lot of technicalities. You want to make sure you don't overshoot these corners, because you cannot afford one mistake on this road course. This road course is very, very unforgiving. There's not a lot of room to pass. There's not a lot of room for mistakes and errors. You have to be on your A game tonight. You cannot push the issue early on. You have to make sure you get to the end of this race and make sure you keep all four tires on the track.
Yeah, it's so easy to hit any wall around here. It's like a go-kart track essentially for the Cup guys. As you mentioned, the other road courses, they're about the same length, touch longer, touch shorter, but they have such long straightaways and not so many technical tight corners because they're not stuck into a small sandbox, right? So they have to do something different. A lot of the man-made stuff really causes some challenging situations here tonight. And jumping over to our YouTube chat, I see it got quite busy with Doyle Lawrence giving us all the details. And then Joseph coming through here is saying, good luck, Grijalva. El Paso is watching, go Army. So appreciate you for doing a double duty, watching our broadcast, commenting, and going to be driving here tonight. That's kind of impressive there. Appreciate you doing that. And then Doyle Lawrence, of course, rooting for Jeff Chandler, the guy he paints for all the time, part of that new ESC team. So good luck to Jeff Chandler in that endeavor. And Doyle, appreciate you saying good luck to the rest of the field as well. Everyone is going to need some. And Jason, my favorite part about this track, which will never be taken away from me, turn one to me is always going to be sponsored by Tums and will be called the Heartburn Turn. That's just, I love that nickname for it.
Then you have what many of others have known. 2 years ago, the DeWalt Wall, where we had the infamous Kevin Harvick self wreck due to trying to make sure he was getting away from Chase Elliott.
What a shame.
Yeah, yeah, happy off season or merry off season and a happy Christmas.
That's right.
I want to say honestly, if I had to pick I really like this track, and not necessarily on an iRacing aspect, but just in general, from all the games that have had it with the Heat series, even Ignition. I really like this road course. iRacing, it's very fun to drive on. I would say probably the inner part of the course, right when you start going around that carousel and right before you're about to head back onto the track in turn one on the big track. I think that might be one of my favorite parts of the track.
Yeah, definitely one of mine too. And that's the end of the Martin Sports pre-race show. We're going to go down the starting order here for the night's 60-lap race here for the 2.28-mile virtual Roval. And 25 entries here tonight to start off the round of 8. Jose Acosta is going to be starting P1, one of our favorites here in the Nerd TV booth. Nicholas Moreau is going to be starting P2. Our other pick tonight, the 99, Daniel LaFleur, is going to be starting in 3rd. Michael Blackner in 4th. Daniel Simmons in 5th. Jeff Chandler going to be starting in 6th. Richie Coy in 7th. Chad Lang in 8th. Jose Cravala in 9th. And Ryan Hedrick going to be starting in 10th place.
11th, Kyle Milliken, who needs a good run tonight to advance into the next round of the playoffs. Tony Solari, one of the road course kings here in the FTSR League. He'll be starting there in 12th. 13th, you got Wayne Grossi. He's usually a strong road course driver. Brody Hanna needs to have a solid night. He'll start 14th. Ryan Chapman, top 10 back at Watkins Glen. He'll start 15th. Stephen Hollingsworth, runner-up last week at Talladega. He'll start 16th. James Wallace, 17th. Lane Allen, your previous winner from last week at Talladega. He'll start in the 18th position. Steve Loomis, 19th there, and the number 17. And TJ Bartel, Jeremy, will round out your top 20.
21st, Jamie Knopp. 22nd place will be Colby Mice. 23rd, Brian DeBlay. 24th, Colton Gum, and the 25th and last place car in tonight's grid is going to be the number 6 of James Torrey. 16th through 25th, so 10 cars elected to not take time in qualifying. They are sorted out by their I ratings from best to worst. So the top 15 did make qualifying times, and I am going to take one pace lap. Rather, we're going to go green flag here. I'm pretty curious how this race is going to go. I know in the real world it becomes a great race. In the virtual side, it's a 50-50. We're going to have some really spaced outness, or we're going to see a lot of different 2 or 3 car battles around this track. You won't see a big grouping of cars. That's almost any road course. But I do expect we're going to see some groupings of 2 to 3 cars in multiple parts of this track at one time, which should keep our producer, Mr. Dustin Logston, pretty handy up there, switching between different cameras. I know we're going to be calling on a lot of different things around the track. It's difficult at a road course to keep everything in check here as a producer, so we got to do our parts. So Dustin, I wish you the best of luck, and we're going to have a lap left, and we're going to go green flag here.
It's going to be fun to see, Jeremy. I'm really excited for this race, actually. I mean, it's such a cool race to watch. Obviously, being the Charlotte Roval, we've gotten so used to this track with the oval side for years and years and years. And then 2018 bombshell from SMI, they say, hey, we're going to use our inner track. We're going to use the road course inside the infield. A lot of the time, a lot of the INX Legend Car Series used to run it, or part of it at least. You had GT cars run it. Also, the Ford Performance School, they would use it as well. And now you have the top 2 divisions in the NASCAR National Touring Series, and obviously we have it on iRacing, so I'm really looking forward to this race tonight, and we'll have to see who comes out on top.
And this wasn't just half-assed thrown together, too. The Roval they put a lot of money into revamping everything about the infield to make it look and feel realistic and presentable on TV. And it's always been my dream. Like when I was growing up playing NR 2003, I wish someone would build a Roval. I didn't call it Roval, but I'm just going to use that term. A Roval style racetrack in any oval track, whether it be a realistic one that came with the game or a custom created one. I wish they would do something. And when Charlotte finally announced this, I was like, oh my God, this is my dream come true. And so maybe that's why I'm kind of sticking on to it. I know a lot of people are like, throw this away. Give me back the 1.5 oval actual speedway and get rid of this road course part. But for me, the kid in me is like, I love this Roval. And every time this is on the schedule, I get excited for it.
It's definitely something that obviously me and you have grown to like a lot. You know, I'm a really, really, really strong believer and lover of road course racing. So this will always be something near and dear to my heart because I just love the technicality of road course racing. Grew up, we only grew up with 2 road courses for a majority of our lives, Jeremy, and now there's so many, including the Charlotte Roval.
Yes, sir. And here we go. We're going to have green flag through the S's here. This race is underway. Stage break at lap 15. The entire race is 60 laps long. As they started off in the S's, it's going to quickly space out the top 10 here, at least going from double file to single file here, going through turn 2, headed to turn number 3. First sketchy part here on cold tires. Make sure you don't overslide that entrance or else it could cause some havoc. Looks like everyone through the top 10 anyway is going to be coming out through this section, turn 3 and 4 unscathed. You can utilize all that runoff past the curbing. That is not going to be a 1X on the service, so go ahead and use it. And in this part here, you have to get really close to this inside wall to make things happen with a great lap time. And you see they're all single filed at this point. Jumping over to the YouTube chats real quick, Jason. Doyle Lawrence, completely opposite of us, says he hates it, which, it's a love or hate relationship. I've never seen someone go, it's okay. It's always, I hate it or I love it. So that's fair enough there. Then Jose back on there saying, yes, sir. I am Grijalva Dad in El Paso. So, yeah, man, hopefully you do well here tonight. And I think I saw some tire smoke there in the bus stop.
Yeah, Lane Allen looked like he locked it up right there heading into the bus stop, and they're going to get out of that chicane bus stop. You see one driver really slow back there, but that's going to be one of the most troublesome spots throughout this entire race, is heading into turn 1 and then heading into that final 2 turns, coming into 16 and 17 right here. This inner loop, you already see one driver almost overshooting it. That looked to be James Wallace. Maybe it was Colton Gum. Could have been Colton Gum there. A lot of cars out here on this racetrack. It's going to get definitely strung out. And then obviously that backstretch bus stop, that is a place where it's just so chaotic. And Kyle Milliken, I think, might have just had some issues.
Kyle Milliken there on the exit of turn number 2. You're going to watch him go through 1 here. Gets the turn 2. Get to see a little loose there from the 47 Hedrick. And he just overshoots it, hits the outside. Well, this is the crazy part. Glitched into the guardrail section where the concrete barrier and the guardrail meet up. And it locked him in there. So he's going to have to call the tow truck, get that thing towed. So early woes there for the 42.
I think it's safe to say, just for the time being, that Kyle Milliken's playoff hopes look to have just gone up in smoke. Oh, TJ Bartell up and into the wall. We saw that be a consistent problem on Saturday in practice for the Cup Series and a couple times in the race yesterday at Charlotte. And it strikes for the 77 of TJ Bartell coming out of the corner, heading through turn 8, back onto the big track in turn number 1. And that looks to be heavy right front damage to that 77 Shell Pennzoil machine.
We're already keeping Dustin busy in the booth. It's not even lap 3 yet. We're going to go on board, or at least focusing on the 77 Bartell here through that incident as we're getting out of the road course section onto the oval part of it. He's a little wide there in this corner. I don't know the numbers exactly. I just know there's 17 corners here. Coming back onto the oval side. And just overshoots it and gets a little loose trying to do so and overcorrects, which I did mention in the pre-race. You got to make sure you don't overshoot that and hit the wall. He tried to hit the brake and make sure he didn't, but then he paid for it by getting loose and overcorrecting to the outside wall. After that, and then Doyle Lawrence comes on and says, holy crap, which, oh, actually we got another spin there. Looks like it's going to be 27, Ryan Chapman, just every single Monday, continue to have woe after woe. And coming through turns 3 and 4 here, he's going to get loose off the rumble strip. And whoop, there he goes.
Never mind, I stand corrected. I thought he was going to lock it down, but I don't know if he got... I think he got stuck as well there, Jeremy. It looks like he could have gotten stuck as well. But right there, heading through those 2 corners, obviously in 3 and 4, he just started to accelerate a little too early. And because of the way that those rumble strips are built, and everybody like myself included, growing up, I thought to myself, oh, you want to get on those rumble strips. Yeah, they kind of help you, obviously. They're there to aid you, but you don't want to accelerate fully and use them as kind of like a lifesaver in a sense. And unfortunately, when he got onto the rumble strips, heading out of turn 4 down that straightaway, right off the corner, he was just already on the accelerator too much. Unfortunately, got over that curb. It really just kind of wheel hopped the back end out, and that's what caused him to just spin out right there, just because of that transition and because of there just being absolutely no grip on those rumble strips. And you see Ryan Hedrick nearly do it right there.
And guys are just all over the place at this time. About lap 4, you would think the tire wear, or the tire wear, the tire temperatures would be built up and there'd be optimal grip. But these guys run such a low gear or high gear. Oh, we got the 17, Steve Loomis around turn number 1 on exit. There you see the smoke, and there he is. He made a quick toe to pit road there, so might call it a little early tonight. But we're going to see him go through turn number 1 on the Nerd TV replay. He's going to make the corner a little slow, but then the car hits the bumps right there, and it just full sends it. Heavy damage actually to that nose of that machine.
Just kind of bottomed out right there. The bottom of the chassis obviously just kind of started to scrape the ground because of that low downforce. And, you know, I mean, he's got grip, but once you go through those transitions, that's the thing about this car compared to the Gen 6, Jeremy. I have noticed with the road course racing I've done with it, I'm sure you have, and I know our producer probably has as well, is here at the road courses, obviously little room for error. But with that being said, with transitions, it is super, super difficult on these cars. You think about, for example, back at Darlington. When we went to Darlington, you nearly see Ryan Hedrick run into the back of Brody Hand on one of the guys he's battling with for the cutoff line. When we were at Darlington, we saw a lot of guys getting loose off turn number 2. Jeff Chandler, a lot of guys said that it was just the transition. Turns out that's what it was, and that's a big thing here on iRacing with these cars being so low to the ground, with the downforce they have, the way that they're built. You get over any sort of bump, it's going to really upset that race car. It's going to bottom out, and you're going to be going for a spin for sure.
You kind of have to drive this car like you're driving an IMSA car, right? Because, you know, NASCAR apparently owns IMSA as well, and they got a lot of their influence on this next-gen car from that series. And so a lot of these oval guys try to drive it like an oval car, and you got to think that the suspension's just as stiff on the roadside on the IMSA stuff as it is on the NASCAR stuff. And so you can't get on the gas and you can't do certain things like you're driving an oval car around these bumps, or you will find yourself spinning yourself out and whatnot. So you have to drive just a little bit different. It is a lot trickier with the less travel in the suspension. Those bumps, you feel them a lot more in your seat, and it kicks the car sideways a little quite easier. So you just have to kind of compensate however you can to make it feel the most comfortable around all the bumps around this place.
And you obviously have to be calm, cool, collective. You have to be patient. You're not going to make up 5 spots in one corner. You know, there's 17 corners on this racetrack for the guy in front of you to make an issue, to make a mistake. You will get positions if you are consistent. I think back to my first road course week back at Watkins Glen for the C-Fix stuff for the truck series. I remember I was like, okay, I'm just going to go out here. I'm not going to qualify. Maybe I will. And whatever happens, happens. I'm just going to run my own race. I'm not going to be aggressive. Next thing you know, I finished P3. So that's one of the benefits if you're just a little bit patient. But if you're one of these guys like Jose Acosta, Nicholas Moreau, Danny LaFleur, top 3 right now who are nose to tail, you are a good road course driver. So you could probably push the issue just a little bit more than, say, a Wayne Grossi, than a James Wallace, a TJ Bartell. That's the thing that separates the men from the boys when it comes to road course racing, just because of the amount of road course stuff that they've done in the sim.
Yeah, 100% there. And the sim transfers very well into the real when it comes to the real, I feel like, personally. But we're starting to see the field kind of space out here a little bit, other than the front guys. Jose Acosta still leading this thing just over a half a second over Nicholas Moreau in the 15, and then another 6/10 of a second back. You got the 99 of Daniel Fleur. All 3 of which are bad fast in practice and qualifying, and you're seeing him continue to have, the 15 gets really loose there, going through turn 5 right in front of Danny, which gets Danny right buttoned up to his rear end here, gives Jose a little bit extra breathing room. But outside of that, the fields have really spaced out. 4th place, 3 seconds back. 5th place jumps all the way back to 10.5 seconds back. So a huge fluctuation between the top 4 compared to everybody else. And then Doyle Lawrence once more on the YouTube. I feel like this is a rhythm track. You have to settle in and run consistently. from the transitions on the oval section to the infield road course. And Jason agrees with you about the rhythm part. And I agree with you, especially going from 15, 16, 17 through the final little S before the start finish line. That's where you got to notice it the most, is coming off that banking directly onto the flat, then making a quick cut left, right. Very challenging.
Yeah, I definitely, absolutely 101% agree with Doyle for sure, because this is definitely rhythm track. And honestly, it's not just this place, it is all road courses. Unless you've made over like 1,000 laps at a certain road course, you know how that track is going to be in a particular car. But for drivers like this here tonight, every single lap, every single corner is a learning experience, and to figure out how the track drives, how it adapts with the car, how the car adapts to the track, and what your setup is like underneath you. Because, like we've talked about, you have to be consistent here. Every lap, you're going to learn something. Don't be pushing it. For example, maybe Lane Allen, if you're sitting like he is in 13th, don't push as hard. Don't push every corner, because you don't know what the guy in front of you is going to do. You're going to have 17 other turns for a guy to make a mistake, and for you to try to just be calm, cool, collective, and consistent enough to get past him. And then next thing you know, you're going to start picking up on certain things like, all right, I can brake a little later here coming into the chicane. All right, I can accelerate a little bit coming out of the apex later than I thought I could. There's just so many factors when it comes to the road course racing aspect that doesn't really transpire to the oval. But I think the one thing that's a big takeaway, Jeremy, when it comes to the road course stuff, is this definitely involves a lot more craft than an oval.
It really does. There's so many more things you have to be, and then and on top of that, you have to figure out when you're going to make pit stops, right? You got to do your normal pit stop, and the tire wear is much more aggressive than an oval, and depending on what kind of road course you're at. This one, since you're at lower speeds, maybe not as much, but the same token, that technicality around this entire track that we talked about earlier, you have to be on top of that. And also, if you don't have a spotter, you have to uncheck and check your tires. You have to make sure your fuel's on par. There's a lot of things you have to do in the car other than just drive this track, which is difficult enough as is. And I'm going to jump over to thank one of our partners here. Of course, the Monday Night Series sponsor, Mach-1 Performance. It's a race car fabrication shop that was started by the late Johnny Coy Jr. The shop has produced champions and winners of all sorts of racing divisions, from road circuits like the SCCA and NASA to dirt and pavement oval racing. Visit them at Facebook at facebook.com/Mach-1 Performance. And just a quick update, you see the 17 going around there through the heartburn turn that I'm going to call it, which I think is still sponsored on this sim, by the way. Colton Gum, Kyle Milliken, Ryan Chapman, 3 drivers already backed out of tonight's session.
Definitely, and Kyle Milliken, obviously, his playoff hopes are absolutely done. That was just too hard of a hit to that outside wall. Definitely probably broke all the toe links in the car. Definitely just too heavy on the front end damage. I mean, we saw the front, the hood was up, the front end was crushed in, the rear of the car was pretty much lifted up with the deck lid, the bumper, the diffuser, everything. So Kyle Milliken will not compete for the rest of the season for a championship, to say the least, but will still try to have the best show out that he can for the remaining weeks. And, you know, and that's just one guy that these guys don't have to worry about. If you're Ryan Hedrick, Michael Blackner, Chad Lang, Brody Hanna, you know, just in general, I mean, we'll have to see what goes on. You know, obviously the stage points, those are going to be huge. Michael Blackner could use all the stage points that he could get. You know, I mean, he needs them. So does Ryan Hedrick. I mean, Chad Lang doesn't really necessarily need them, but they're going to help him now that he's an 8th if he can just maintain around there. I think the one driver who would benefit the most from this currently is Michael Blackner. Ryan Hedrick, he is just not really all there right now, running in 15th. I don't really see him making it up to the top 10, so he's going to probably have to have some of these guys pit if he wants these stage points.
100%. We got 5 laps away from stage break, and I do believe they're going back and following the NASCAR part to where they're going to throw the caution for the stage break. I know 2023 started without having any cautions for stage breaks, but we should see one in 5 laps as they're almost halfway through this lap, on lap number 11 of scheduled 60 here this evening. The top 3 have really not relinquished each other. They are just lightning fast amongst themselves. And then Michael Blackner, the D7, he was running really good up with them until about 4 laps ago or so, and he's kind of fallen off the pace a little bit. He's dropped back now to 5.5 seconds off the top 3.
Yeah, but again, he doesn't need to win this race necessarily. He just needs to do better, than Chad Lang, Kyle Milliken, and Ryan Hedrick, which he is beating all 3 of those guys right now. And obviously, he needs to just kind of outrun Brody Hanna and Wayne Grossi, which he is doing. Again, these playoff points, or not playoff points, but stage points rather, that are going to come to him at the end of the stage if he does in fact stay out, doesn't elect to come to pit road before 2 laps to go when pit road will be closed. I think Michael Blackner is going to have a very good shot at making it into the round of 8. Obviously, we all know Kyle Milliken now out of contention. He will not advance. Ryan Hedrick not doing too well. Chad Lang would probably be the only competition I'd say that Michael Blackner has outside that cutoff line. But again, time will tell. This is a long mental game race for being only 60 laps. I know that seems short, one of the shortest races for us here on the FTSR Mach-1 schedule, but it's going to feel long because you are going to feel absolutely sore out of your mind after this race is over.
Especially if you're running some type of stronger force feedback and whatnot. This is one of the bumpiest places to running on the NASCAR schedule. Yeah, I'm in agreement with you with Michael Blackner. This is his time to shine, right? He does pretty good on ovals, but obviously he's doing much better than his competition in the points on the Roval. And he needs to be, +9 to at least tie Brody Hanna, who's right at the cut line in 8. And so Brody right now currently sitting at 11th place, Michael Blackner 4th, right? That's 6 position, 6 points, plus the stage points. Brody's not getting anything in his current spot. Right now, Michael Blackner's going to earn 6 points, or 7 points rather, if he does finish in 4th on this. So that right there is going to propel him in front of the 23. It's going to drop the 23 below the cut line just based off of those 2 cars alone. And we got 2 laps, or 3 laps rather, before we're going to see that settled for stage break. But this is the race to shake up points. You got Homestead and Vegas coming up. Those are just, your typical style, oval style racetracks. And so you know who your competition is there. You know who's going to run well. But Roval is always such that wild card style track. You're going to make up the points here. I think you're going to set yourself up well for the remaining 2 races.
To say the least, and here's something that we're going to keep an eye on is this battle right now for the stage. Obviously, neither of these guys are in the playoffs, but obviously playoff points are on the line and track position looks to be key. I want to say out of these 3, Danny LaFleur, I think, looks the best. I mean, he is still posting fast lap times. He just ran the fastest lap time of the race last lap around with a 1:19 .843. He is fast. Sure, he didn't have a great bus stop exit right there. Nicholas Moreau, though, all over the back bumper of Jose Acosta, looking for one of his first wins in just a handful of starts. So we'll have to see here who gets this stage win, who comes out on top. Jose's looked very strong all night. He's been able to hold the Moreau Motorsports guys at bay. But Nicholas Moreau, rather, is doing really good. Danny LaFleur, he's newer to that Moreau camp. I think he might have something for these front 2 here later in this race.
Did you just notice how Danny LaFleur went through 15, 16, and 17? He really jacked up the bus stop. He locked it up, came in too hot, had to mess up the exit there on the bus stop, and he was back probably over half a tenth or half a second. But going through 15, 16, and 17, he made up all that ground and then some, got directly to the back bumper of the 15. So that is where Danny is shining, is right. Oh, we got contact. The leaders around Jose and Nick both simultaneously spin like they're part of the Blue Angels flight crew. And there goes the 99 of Danny LaFleur. Instantly takes P1. Going to the Nerd TV replay, we're going to see exactly what happened here. Little wide exit from the 24. It's going to really check up his turn 7 speed. Gets to turn 8, and then looks like Nicholas Moreau just drives in like Christopher Bell did to Daniel Suarez yesterday. Just drives in a little too hot, makes the contact. Of course, Danny has nowhere to go and sends his teammate around a little bit further. But then all of a sudden, look at Danny. He's going to be posting P1 now because of the mistakes from the 24 and the 15. And that's going to bump everybody up, or at least Michael Blackner, a little bit extra. He's now in front of the 24 and the 15.
I'm baffled. I was gonna speak before, but I'm absolutely baffled by what I just saw. I mean, hey, it's a road course. At least they didn't lose too much time. They're still in the game. I want to see real quick if we could take another look at that replay from the angle of the 15 machine, from that third person drone cam, to see if maybe the 24 just didn't cut him enough slack, or the 15 really did go into the corner too hard. Because from my angle, Jeremy, I agree with you. I think Nicholas Moreau had an opening because watch, the 24 is going to back up the exit right here. And the 15 just thinks he's going to have a much better entry. The 24 kind of chops him off. I mean, I want to say racing deal, but at the same time, it's like the 15 started turning into the corner very, very early. I think the 24 got caught off guard, tried to cut off that momentum, and unfortunately, they just came together right there coming through turn 8.
And our producer Dustin was kind of keep a notation of that, saying that was the 24's normal line around that part of the corner. As we're going to kick it over to our race leader, who's going through 15, 16, 17 for the final time, at least at this stage here. So Danny LaFleur, the 99, will win stage, but Michael Blackner gets an extra 2 points, which is critical. We just talked about this about 5 laps prior with him and Brody and Wayne Grossi being right at the cutoff line. That's 2 extra bonus points for him to potentially get himself into the round 8 or round of 4 pretty comfortably. When I say round of 4, I actually mean the championship race. It's going to be confusing for me to get used to that, but we're waiting for 10th place to cross the line. That's why we've not seen the yellow flag fly just yet, I do believe. We're trying to kick it over to 10th place. That's the 31 of Jeff Chandler. He is at the line there, and there it is, our first caution presented by Roasted Gems Coffee, and our only caution this evening because there is no full course yellows here on road courses. So this is it. These guys are going to come down pit road and get serviced. So we are going to take our pit road break, which is our commercial, and we'll be back here shortly.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Oh, okay. And back to full screen here as we see all the cars starting to leave pit road right now. And it looks like the 99 is going to win the race out with a 24-15 out right behind them. And Michael Blackner lost a couple of spots on pit road. He was second on the stage. He did fall out behind the 15, or the 24, the 15, and the 19. Richie Coy picking up a spot or two on pit road. It's a nice job there from the 19 virtual crew as they're all kind of single filed out. There was some cars that you see in front of the leaders. Those are most likely your wave arounds, which we'll see them zoom by with one to go, which we should get that signal next time by.
Yeah, and a little points update after that stage ended. So Michael Blackner is now tied with Brody Hanna. I believe that's why Brody Hanna decided to elect to stay out here. So he wants to make it a one-stop race, have that valuable track position. We'll see how it works out for him. Lane Allen, obviously, he won last weekend. He's all locked in. He's just here, for some giggles. I mean, he just wants to come out here and win another race. Stephen Hollingsworth, same goes for him, not in the playoffs, but he's been very, very well recently. Ryan Hedrick, the guy who pretty much now at this juncture is in a must-win situation. There's just not enough cars for him to get the amount of points. He is in a must-win situation. Michael Blackner, though, tied with Brody Hanna in the points, and Chad Lang with the 4 points that he was awarded at the end of the stage. He will actually be able to transfer through as of now with the updated points, but he'll need to finish ahead of Brody Hanna and will need to finish ahead of Michael Blackner more than likely. Brody Hanna, though, is a definite. So right now, the bubble, from what it looks like that we're going to have to be watching, is going to be between Michael Blackner and Brody Hanna for that final spot.
Yeah, 100% there. And don't forget about that 7 Wayne Grossi. Came in only 1 point ahead of Brody Hanna. So, I mean, if there's a mistake from either one of those guys, either one could drop back too. So it is a multi-car situation here right off the cutoff line. And I got to make a couple corrections on myself. Personally, I was saying that there was 2 more races left. No, this is the cutoff race. So who are those paying attention to my voice specifically, I apologize. And also to Joe Grijalva on the chats. For some reason, I was thinking Joe and Joseph was the same person. You are not. You are the father. So I appreciate you joining in, cheering on your son, as I got that now corrected. So I got beat up pretty bad there in that little commercial break. So I just had to give a correction out there before we get this thing back going.
Looking forward to this restart here. We're going to be restarting with a little bit. I think we're on, what are we on right now? What lap? Is it lap 18, I think, maybe? If so,
be restarting on lap 20.
Yeah, so we're going to be restarting with 41 laps to go here. I'm interested to see if Brody Hanna can hang on those older tires. And obviously Lane Allen, he's just there. So the more cars that Brody Hanna had stay out, which were only 4 other cars, obviously the bigger of a chance he's going to have at being able to stay out front. But with only 4 cars separating him back to LaFleur and Jose Acosta, I just don't think he's going to be able to hold it on. But again, he needs the points. He's not here to win. A win would be absolutely fantastic for him. He just needs to finish ahead of Michael Blackner, try to outrun Wayne Grossi, and also Chad Lang.
These guys I thought that were going to wave around did not, so they must have pitted prior, which I did not catch because we were focusing on the lead action at that time with the spin out a lap before the stage end. So Brody will be restarting this race. P1, Lane Allen P2, Stephen Hollingsworth 3rd, James Wallace 4th, Ryan Hedrick 5th, And that's the 5 cars that stayed out. At least they took the pit stop a couple laps prior to caution, and then 6 on back. Everyone has 4 fresh set of tires, 2 or 3 laps ahead of everybody else in front of them. And this is going to get extra tricky. We know if you have fast cars, you can pass, right? But now you have someone who's running 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th place all in front of you. So now you have to figure out how they're going to run the corners, which you have not practiced around all day long. So that's tricky enough here at the Roval. And then they're going to have to kind of sift their way through the field most likely because they're not top 5 cars. All these top 5 guys right now are just not showing the Roval speed compared to their oval speed. So this is going to get very tricky on this restart, and it should be a very fun couple laps from the viewer perspective.
Definitely, to say the least here, Jeremy. I'm looking forward to it. We're going to have to see who gets it. I want to say watch Jose Acosta, man, because he got out up front of the 15. I think he's going to have something here for the 99, but now that Danny LaFleur is in front of those 2 guys, he might be able to make some moves, but it's going to be all about who gets through these front 5 cars the fastest, see which one of them gets to the lead.
There we go. Pace car is coming down to pit road, so we're going to get the green flag right when we get to the S's part of this final couple corners on this 17-corner track. Just going to wait for the flagman here, Mr. Patrick, to get it going. And there we are. Green flag is out. A little bit of a check up there on the outside lane. The 14 is going to lose the spot to the 25 instantly, and Ryan Heger in the 47. There goes Danny LaFleur, 3 wide and already causing a wreck. Heartburn turn for the 14 and the 99. They're going to stack it up here with Jeff Chandler, Jamie Knopp. 4 cars. Watch out for the 6. Okay, you're all clear. Go ahead and get around. But Danny LaFleur, remember I said they're going to be trying to figure out how to get around these slower guys, and Danny drove it a little too deep. Powell drove the 14 there in turn number 1, sent him around. We're jumping to the Nerd TV replay to take a look.
Yeah, the 67 to James Wallace just kind of starts to stack up, and then Danny LaFleur just goes down, and these guys just start braking a lot earlier than he expects, and he just completely overshoots the corner, gets into Lane Allen, collects James Wallace, Jamie Knopp, also Jeff Chandler, you said as well. So a lot of guys collected here going through the Tums Heartburn turn.
Yeah, it's not what they were expecting there. So quick into the turn number 1, and there's that. It could have been a lot worse. It could have been 4 or 5 guys. Remember, that was the top 5-ish cars in the field through turn number 1. So tricky to get through there when everyone's congested too wide right on the start-finish line. Here's we're taking another look at it. One more angle from Jeff Chandler's TV camera perspective. You see Wayne Grossi jump to the inside, and that was a phenomenal move by Wayne Grossi to make that last cut to the inside. Oh, and actually, you know what? He's going to actually propel the 31, so I'm going to take that back. He made a great move, just drove it a little too deep as well, and sent Jeff Chandler right into the left front of Danny LaFleur.
To take a note on
10.
It took out the 10 too. Yeah, Colton Gum involved right there in the On the Hunt Ford Mustang. I didn't even notice that Colton Gum was involved, so that was a second crash after that first crash. But here's something we're going to have to point out here, Jeremy, that we weren't really looking at. Sherwood Williford and Jamie Knopp. Now, Sherwood, I don't believe is Sherwood Williford here tonight? Sherwood Williford is not here tonight. So I actually believe he could very well be eliminated tonight. And Colby Mice as well. He was involved there. Oh, and a hard impact to the outside wall for those guys. But here's the thing, Jeremy. Jamie Knopp, he was involved in that crash right there. So, with that being said, Jamie Knopp is going to have to try to rebound the best he can, make up as many points as possible here in this race.
Yeah, that's a good notation. Show Will for the 33 in the points. Came into this thing P6. And he was only 8 points above the cutoff line. So that will definitely eliminate Sherwood Williford, pending most of these other guys finish somewhere in the top 10 region. That'll definitely bump him out. So we'll have to see where everybody else around that line finishes even more so now, because it gets even trickier with that stat being thrown at us. I did notice a couple of these guys are having, like 23 Brody Hanna. I thought he'd be sifting through the field kind of quick, but he is hanging on strong. Currently sitting P4, only 2.5 back of the race lead. Got a little bit older set of tires and was running about 10th place in practice and Q. For him to hang in the top 4 right now, that's pretty impressive stuff from the 23, as we're looking on board the 87's camera right at Brody Hanna there for 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st, all in front of him here.
And just like our producer said in our ear, this is the race for that final transfer spot, because if you take out Sherwood Williford as well, that leaves Brody Hanna holding out that final transfer spot right now over Michael Blackner, or you could say vice versa. I'm not too sure how the tiebreaker would go. It probably more than likely goes by the best finishing position in the round of 8, or round of 12 rather, just like they do in the real NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. But these two are tied in the points. This is the battle for the final transfer spot to make it into the round of 8. So you know Michael, he's going to try to run his teammate hard, but it's a teammate. You can't run him super hard. As you look at the 6 of James Torrey transition over the Turtles, unfortunately sends him around, no damage, but it looks like he's going to get back going there. And also thing to note too, Nicholas Moreau, last time around, fastest lap time of the race. So this race is really projecting to be something. And there's Jamie Knopf again, one of those guys we talked about we're going to have to keep an eye on. He could be facing elimination here as well.
Having a little bit of woe right there, going through turns 3 and 4, just drives it in a little too deep, slides it in, and direct tail shot to the wall, which that's best case scenario. You're less likely to break anything internally if you're going to slap the wall directly with your rear end. And here's the pass of the 23 and the 87. Michael Blackner gets around his teammate Brody Hanna there. That is for 3rd place and potentially one of the positions needed to transfer the 87 into the playoffs, a little bit deeper on rather, at the end of this race. So we're going to continue to keep our eyes on that, because that is most likely who's in and who is out as we kind of cycle now back up through the field. Stephen Hollingsworth, hell of a drive, this 25 car. Didn't expect him to be up here after pit stops, but here he is competing very well against the 24 and the 15.
Yeah, doing an absolutely great job right now, to say the least. I mean, he's doing a great job holding off one of our road course ringers, basically. Yet to win a race in the FTSR, but he was close at Bristol. He was close at Darlington. He was close pretty much every single week, Jeremy, if you really think about it. Jose Acosta has been right there in the mix, man. I think next season he is going to be one to reckon with here in the Mach-1 Performance Cup Series. And right now he is right all over the back bumper almost of Stephen Hollingsworth, trying to get around him. Last time around, Jose was just about a 1/10.5 faster than Stephen, and he's actually going to go right to the inside here out of turn number 8. He'll head down to the inside of the racetrack. It's going to be a drag race out of turn number 2 on the big track. And look who's right behind him, Nicholas Moreau. Where did he come from? He's going to try to outbrake. No, he doesn't. He'll tuck back in line as they head to the bus stop down the back.
That was probably a very smart move by Nicholas Moreau to give up that entrance to maybe get the exit. And here he goes. He's got a great chance at him. Goes to the outside of the 25. Not going to be able to carry that momentum, so they're going to go back single file through turns 15 here as they come off the oval side to the final little road course section, to back on the front straightaway. And I see on the YouTube side that Doyle was kind of curious on Jeff Chandler's points position. Well, he came into the thing 20 off the lead and over 30 away from the cutoff line, so Jeff Chandler is guaranteed a spot into the round of 8. As they're going to reset the points anyways at that point. So he's definitely comfortable in the round of 8. No worries there, Doyle. Then Benjamin Tracy saying, hang in there, Jamie, which, not doing too bad.
And here's something interesting, too, that's just come across to my attention. Think about this, too, that we didn't even think about, Jeremy. Brody Hanna stayed out. He led laps. Leading a lap here in the FTSR division is a bonus point, like it used to be in the old NASCAR Winston Cup, Nextel Cup Series days. I mean, with Brody Hanna leading those laps, that could be all he needs to beat out Michael Blackner. So he actually will hold that 8th place position currently as the points stood when he was leading laps. And Michael Blackner was right behind in 9th. So, I mean, the fact that Brody Hanna could win this battle between him and his teammate by just 1 point possibly could be insane.
Yeah, it's going to get real close. I see the 99 Daniel LaFleur did disconnect from the session as well, so 4 drivers have left the racing server tonight as we're kind of cycling through the field here a little bit. This is the 12 going through the turns 16 and 17 right now. That's Grijalva. Newcomer here into the FTSR Mach-1 Performance Cup Series. He's got the number 4 Chad Lang and that Ken Block throwback right behind him here, which kind of a fitting scheme because you do a lot of sliding around this track, so kind of like a Gymkhana-esque style racetrack, if you will. If you're going to put that scheme on any track, this is probably one of the most fitting ones.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. And I mean, this race so far has been interesting to say the least. We've had drama, we have championship implications going on, so many things, and I think that's why so many people like this Roval. I think, honestly, Jeremy, in my opinion, if this race was an 8 cutoff race, I don't think it would be nearly as exciting as it's been in recent years. And the fact that it's the cutoff race here for the FTSR Mach-1 Performance Cup guys, I think makes it all the more bittersweet for these guys. You know, I mean, you either love road courses or you hate them. I mean, if you're a driver like Ryan Hedrick, man, you're just trying to survive and get all the points you can. You are pretty much in a must-win coming out in here tonight, so he's going to need an absolute miracle, you know, to probably go on to make the next round. He finds himself in 9th right now, so maybe a little strategy could go a long way for him, but I just don't think with the time that he's back to the leader, the track position he has, I just don't know if it's going to work out for him.
As we're looking at the 24 and the 15 right now, this is the battle for first place, heating up a little bit more. Nicholas Moreau drives in a little too deep there in turn. Sticks headed to 7. Now it's going to give Jose a little bit of breathing room here as he's going to get to the oval side through turns 1 and 2 on that part of the circuit. Big lead here between these two guys. They got a 3, 4, and 8-second lead over 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And you know, we're gonna see if the 15 can get to the 24. If you remember, right before stage, the 15 took out the 24 essentially, not on purpose, but on accident because of how different they drive the lines, right? And so, if 15 can get there, we'll have to see if the 24 changes his lineup.
Yeah, we just had trouble in the back right there, and Michael Blackner and Stephen Hollingsworth got into one another. Hollingsworth overshoots the corner, gets right into Blackner.
Man.
That could be severe playoff damage for Michael Blackner. He did not come into the pit. Stephen Hollingsworth, though, he did. That could have very well there, Jeremy, bent a toe link for that 87 machine. That could be huge damage that we're going to have to keep a close eye on.
Yeah, he remains on track, and it looks like initially for the first 4 or 5 corners since that happened, his car looks okay. Gets a little hot there. It has to lock up the front tire, but it looks like the speed is going to be okay. And he's got 3 seconds behind him before the next person, 23, hand him, and then he's got another 5 seconds behind him. So right now with the spacing, I think the way his car is running, it's a pretty comfortable position regardless.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it looks okay. I was gonna say the overshooting there going into turns 3 and 4 looked a little, you know, iffy. But just looking from the drone cam right now, I'm not seeing very much damage to the left side of this number 87 Sheets machine. I think he's gonna be okay. But again, we're going to have to keep an eye on this. You know, you could have damage on the inside of the car that's not going to look like there's anything wrong with it. I mean, he could be running right now. The car looks fine from our point and obviously the fans at home point. But, I mean, he could be sitting there and he's probably thinking, man, this car's driving like crap right now. I can't do anything. I think I might have something wrong. It could have maybe knocked out the steering a little bit. He could have bent the toe link. You just don't know. These cars are so fragile, but yet so strong when it comes to hitting these walls and bouncing off of them at the same time. It's kind of like a love-hate relationship with damage and walls for these next-gen cars. You just don't really know what it's going to provide, whether you're going to have that car crush, you're going to have damage internally, you're going to be okay when you bounce off the wall. You just don't know. As you see the leaders go right around Steve Loomis, who's had a pretty abysmal night tonight here at the Charlotte Roval. Here's the 7, Wayne Grossi. He's into the pits now. This is not something that he needed either.
Yeah, I know you're going to have to take one green flag pit stop maybe. He's doing it a lot sooner than everybody else here. We'll have to see as it continues to play out. But as you're talking about that, Jason, you kind of reminded me, when a driver gets into a wreck in the real world, they tell their crew, my car is absolutely destroyed. You hear him come out of pit or out of their car at the end of the race and go, man, my car was destroyed. but they get like 10th place. And so the 87 could very well be like, man, my car is it's junk. It's not doing anything. It can't turn. It can't brake. But then we sit here in the booth in our chairs and go, man, this guy looks like he's up to speed. So you never know how he's feeling in that car for sure. As they go a little wide there from James Wallace in the 67 going through the bus stop that time. You see how much they ramp those curbs? It can help or hurt you depending on how the car is set up. And right now those guys look like little monster trucks out there. See the Ford Chad Lane coming down pit road. This might just be the normal start of the green flag pit stops, Jason.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. I think that this is probably going to be the start of green flag pit stops here. I mean, we saw most of the guys in the Cup Series race yesterday go the same exact distance. And from what they pit right now, I think they're definitely going to be able to make it all the way if you're going to try to take the undercut like Chad Lang. See, this is the thing about the undercut when it comes to road courses, is if you're a driver trying to perform the undercut, getting those fresh Goodyear Eagles, and you do not like road courses at all, I don't really think it's going to play a big benefactor for you at all, to say the least. You know, it could play a big benefactor maybe for somebody like Jose Grijalva or maybe Michael Blackner, Richie Coy, because they're good at road courses. But here comes Nicholas Moreau. He's going to decide to take that undercut to see if he can try to get ahead of Jose Acosta, just because that was the battle for the lead going on. But we'll have to see here as we're just past the halfway point.
Second place, Nick Moreau coming down pit road for his green flag pit stop right at the halfway mark of this race at lap 31 here as leaders cross the line. So, now second place has come in here. Who else is going to come inside the top 5 this time by? You don't want to lose too much ground on the guy shortcutting that. You would expect the 24 of Jose to be like, all right, I have to come down this time or I might lose the race lead, knowing how close the 15 was to my bumper. So we'll have to see, especially if the 24 will come down pit road. Also see Richie Coy making some progress through the field. He passed his teammate Brody Hanna last lap there through the oval side of turn 1 and 2. That's going to shift Brody back to 5th place on the board at this time. You see him right there, nose to tail, going this entire lap essentially back to the oval side here. And these guys as well are sure going to be on the same pit strategy.
I can only imagine that they're probably going to be on the same strategy here, and we'll have to see. I mean, Brody Hanna needs all the points he can get. Maybe he's going to try to pit coming in this time. Maybe he'll stay out for as long as he can. We just don't know. That's the thing with road courses. You just don't know. Strategy kind of plays all over the place, kind of similar to an oval, but in a different perspective. The field gets all spread out, but we'll see what he does here. He looks like he's going to stay out this time. Maybe he'll pit next time.
The 15 did exit pit road. Now he's got direct competition with the 12 here of Joseph Grijalva as he finally gets around him. So that's just nothing but slows him down. The 24 Jose has clear track, but the 15 now has to pass lap cars and cars that are on different sequence. So the 15 was slowed up a little bit by that. So right now maybe Jose is all of a sudden like, you know what? Maybe staying out's not a bad thing, where I got clear traffic and just run my line. Just make sure your lap times are competitive, and you might be at an advantage here.
Yeah, that definitely could be a big thing that Jose Acosta might have been thinking, saying, hey, maybe I will stay out. Because looking in front of him, he doesn't really have anybody. He had to work around Brian Dublé, but that was on the big track. He's not going through the inner loop or the 2 chicanes on the back stretch and front stretch to get around him. He got around him coming into NASCAR 1 and 2. I think this is definitely a smart plan by Jose Acosta, obviously, but the one thing that's a negative is that the 15 machine is a road course driver, just like Jose Acosta on the sim side of things. So with that being said, I think that the 15 could very well leapfrog this 24. The only thing that's going to save the 24 is the lap traffic, but just by looking at the gap and intervals from Nicholas Moreau to the cars around him, he doesn't have anybody around him, so he's going to make up probably a few seconds, I say, on the field. I actually think he's going to definitely leapfrog ahead of Jose Acosta when Jose does pit for just in case.
Yeah, and right now, Nicholas Moreau is running 19.2s, 19.3s to Jose's 20.5, 20.8. which is roughly a half a second to a full second slower than what he did start with. That's the 24. As you're seeing on the new TV replay, the 14 of Lane Allen goes for another ride, this time through the bus stop. Little tail slap, continues to keep going. Doesn't look like much damage there, but just kind of overdrove that entrance, got real bumpy, and the wall kind of sprung load him back out into the track, and he continues on.
Definitely not the kind of night that Lane Allen wanted, to say the least. I mean, he got taken out going into turn 1 with Daniel LaFleur, and obviously just a mishap, unfortunately, a racing incident gone wrong. And the 14, ever since that, just really hasn't been able to rebound. I mean, when you look back at the results currently right now, I believe the 14th, he is listed in the 11th spot. So, the 11th spot, rather. Not bad, but when it comes to the road course field, that is not all that good. He was trying to look for 2 wins in a row here tonight. It doesn't look like that's going to happen, but hey, he's sitting there in 11th. He's up 7 spots so far from where he did start. So I'd say that's pretty much a win for him here tonight.
Yeah, 100% there. We're going to shout out one of our partners over here, the Butt Kicker. Offers innovative hardware and software designed to give passionate gamers a deeper level of gaming immersion. The Gamer 2 unit, which is the standard in sim racing immersion, it gives sim racers the haptic transducer, which easily attaches to any center post in any gaming chair or sim rig. It'll give you that much needed feel from the car that really drivers need to perform at their peak performance with. So if you're interested in maybe completing your sim rig by bringing all the bumps and the feels into the track into your sim seat, visit thebuttkicker.com. And they have a plethora of products for your sim rig, not just the Gamer 2, but the Gamer 2 especially has proven to be one of the best ones in the sim racing world. And then also TWRS, Team Watson Racing Setups, the leading name in quality, affordability, and professionalism. With a staff of decorated, distinguished, and dedicated setup builders, TWRS delivers top-notch race and championship winning setups to the iRacing garages of drivers across the simulation community. Check out a full list of prices and services at teamwatsonracing.com.
You've been noticing here, Jeremy, over these last few laps, Nicholas Moreau is getting faster and faster. Heck, he almost broke into the 118 bracket just the last time around. That time by 119.517, so about 5/10 slower than what his last time was. Jose, last time around, he ran his fastest lap of the race. Not the fastest lap of the race, though, out of everybody like Nicholas Moreau did. I think it's pretty safe to say here, Jeremy, I think when Jose does pit, I think this 15 is definitely going to leapfrog him. But, obviously lap traffic definitely helping Jose, but he doesn't have a lot around him. For the 15, that is, there's not a lot around him. I think when it comes time, though, the thing that could also play a benefactor for this 24 is the fact that he's going to have fresher tires, but we're not going to know what the gap's going to look like between him and Nicholas Moreau. I mean, remember, there was a time where they were all nose to tail for 15 laps, and nobody was able to make passes on one another. So just imagine how hard it's going to be for them to catch one another or get to one another if they're just running very, very close and similar lap times.
Yeah, the Jose just keeps continuing to stay out. The 77 TJ Bartel, he came down pit road. So he's now going to go a lap down in that 77 machine as he's on the exit ramp to get back onto the track, which shortcut turn 1 and turn 2 when you do exit this Roval track. 87 Michael Blackner, currently P2. He's going to be the next car right around. TJ gives them plenty of room, so no harm there. Not going to slow up Michael Blackner whatsoever. And now he's got open track to get his fresh tires warmed up. Around here is pit road is staying kind of calm at this point. We still have a lot of people that need to come down pit road, including a race leader. And right now, they're playing the really long game here with the guys who have not pitted yet.
Just a waiting game for sure. I mean, with 25 laps to go, you're just kind of sticking out your strategy. I mean, what you got right now is pretty much what you got. You have to kind of just maintain yourself and just do a good job, be consistent as much as you can. If you're a driver, obviously, like Michael Blackner, like Jose Acosta, Daniel Simmons, Joseph Grijalva, you just don't know. You have what you have. You're going to have to just maintain. But again, this race is still up in the air. We still don't really know who's going to have this by the end of it.
No, I really don't here. We're actually going to take our last pit stop here, picture-in-picture commercial break. We'll be back with you guys here in just a few laps.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And back to full screen here as that was our last pit stop here this evening. And we had a little bit of Tony Stellari action going through the bus stop here. Just drives it down super deep, late on the brakes, and you're going to watch him go for a crazy ride over these bus stops here. 1, 2 solid balances, especially those black and yellow turtles. Those are some heavy hitting speed bumps.
Yeah, I guess Bro might have thought that he was at the Daytona Supercross event there down the back straightaway, because he went over these like they were almost like little tabletops, and oh my goodness, that was a rough ride for Tony Solari, man. He might be driving on a back road with a lot of rocks, or like I said, might be at the Daytona Supercross event, going over the little tabletops. That was a rough ride. That is something you do not want to experience. Going through those turtles definitely hurts, and obviously will hurt your car. So you have to be careful. And for Tony Solari, it looks like he suffered a little bit of damage from that.
You know, the car looks sheet metal wise, well, not sheet metal, it's carbon composite. It looks kind of okay-ish, and I'm really surprised when you get side impact with these toe links and whatnot that are now, you know, very fragile in these next gen cars. They break so easy, but these up and down movements, like he just did, where he just supercrossed it over the turtles, and on the you know, the huge bumps or the black and yellow painted ones, those did not really break the car. He's still running normal lap time. So the up and down movement is definitely strong, but the side to side, I guess, is where it's very brittle. So he's getting a little side loose here, going through turns 2 and turns 3. Came a little bit more tame this time on corner exit 4. Looks okay there. But yeah, very sketchy moment there for Tony Solari.
Yeah, and noticing jumping over to the chats here too, in the Facebook chats, Andrew Little said, "What does the red number indicate?" That is just the number that the driver selects to be their number color on iRacing. So that is why you see some of those drivers have a red number. So they obviously have pitted. So no, it does not mean that they have not pitted. It's just the iRacing color that they've selected for their number. And Jeremy, man, tomorrow, RSR, excited to call that one. Brian Fine, he says he can't wait for their turn tomorrow.
That must mean that Brian Fine is looking forward to this race specifically. That might mean he's going to be doing pretty well. I love racing this track, even if I'm racing for 10th or 15th place. I don't care. I just love driving the track, even in a test session. So I'm excited to call the RSR boys tomorrow as well. I'm sure they're going to put on a hell of a show, just like they are here tonight for the Mach-1 Performance Cup Series here. So we're coming at lap 41. That means we got 20 laps left to go in the Charlotte Roval 200.
Jose Acosta continuing to lead. I don't believe he's pit yet, Jeremy. I'm looking right now. Yeah, no, he has not taken his second pit stop yet. You see Ryan Hedrick, he goes offline. He's able to save it, though. Good job by him. But it's looking like it's not going to be a night that's going to advance Ryan Hedrick further into the round of 8. But what a night for Richie Coy. Very quiet, up 3 spots from where he started, running in 4th. Obviously, he's already advanced into the next round of the playoffs with that spectacular win against Jose Acosta in a door-banging finish coming to the line at Texas, and beats Jeff Chandler by literally the size of probably a Goodyear tire width. That was probably the best race of the season finish-wise for us up here in the booth. But Richie Spinney has had a really quiet night, Jeremy. He's a really talented road racer on this side of things with the Cup car, and really anything you put him in, no surprise to see him running up here at fourth, but he's just had a very quiet night. No issues with him at all.
And you mentioned points. I kind of want to throw this out there too right now. Michael Blackner second, and then you got Brody Hanna in eighth, Chad Lang in ninth, Wayne Grossi in 13th, right? So Michael Blackner is going to move above Chad and Brody. So it's going to put him above the cut line. That's great. Looks like Michael Blackner is currently locked in based off of that stat alone. But then this is where it gets tricky because Wayne Grossi came in, like I said, 1 point ahead of Brody Hanna. He is right now, what, 5 or 6 positions below Brody. So that's going to bump him down. And so the cutoff is going to be really close. You have Chad Lang also right behind Brody on the track. They're only separated by 4.5 to 5 seconds, I think, at this point now, as we are getting close to the finish of this race. So I think the top 8 are basically secure other than Wayne Grossi. I don't know who's... It's going to be so close. Chad Lang, Brody Hanna, Wayne Grossi, those are the 3 names. Or you just have to tune into the FTSR Discord, or their website, rather, FTSR.net, to see who exactly is going to excel into the round of 8. Because right now it's just, for our end and our calculators, it's just too hard to tell at the moment.
Yeah, this is just really tough. I mean, these last 2 weeks have presented us with a fantastic points battle here to make it into the round of 8. And Jeremy, this is the round of 12. The last few years, you know, whether it be for the Cup Series or any type of series that runs off of the regular Cup Series schedule, this has been the most gruesome part of the playoffs. Obviously, you have Texas, a usual 1.5 miles, but it's so hard to pass there. The track position is key. You almost have to play strategy. Then you have Talladega, which is a wild card, and sure enough was a wild card for us last week. And then you have the Charlotte Roval, where the road course guys will come out of their shells and pretty much dominate. And you can have a guy who's running very well in the playoffs, the first 2 races in the round of 12, just completely throw it all away at the Roval. That's just what makes this round so exciting.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Have the most diverse set of tracks. Maybe not next year's schedule, but this year anyways, it's a very diverse round of 12 here. See Brian Fine back on the chat saying, let's go Coy, referencing Richie Coy. Currently sitting 4th, has no pressure around him. He's behind Nicholas Moreau by 16 seconds. And then Joseph Grijalva is also 7 seconds back. Michael Blackner overshoots the bus stop here. So we're going to kick it over to a little VHS rewind here, as you're going to see him just overshoot the corner by probably 1 mile, it looks like. And he's going to cut through the blue part of the track. And thankfully, in his regards, minus the 15 passing him, there's no one else really for position. So he's going to lose 1 spot in that transfer. And in the sim, you don't have to do that stop and go like they do in the real world. You have that yield penalty that iRacing gives you, and as long as you serve that, you are good to go.
Yeah, and that's the good thing, obviously, about the sim world compared to the real world, where you don't have the stop. But, you know, I mean, it is what it is for the 87 machine. He just needs to get back up on the horse and continue to be consistent like he's done all night long. We'll see where Michael Blackner is here come 16 laps.
Dogs are cheering us on here late in the going there, Jason. That is for certain.
I hate you.
They're excited to see the end of this race just as well, as we continue to focus on the 24 of Jose Acosta, 15-second lead over Nicholas Moreau. Dustin, I know, is one of our picks, and right now, Daniel LaFleur being out, this is the only one left out of the 2, and Jose is just putting on a clinic. I expected Nicholas Moreau, who had a very good stage 1 as well, to, you know, contend, but then he corrected me and said that he still has to pick. So I thought 15 maybe would have, or 24 rather, would have pitted this time, but I guess he hasn't. So how much more can he run? We have 15 laps to go, and this guy has to be running close to empty at that point since he's not pitted. That's a good thing to notate too. Being 15 seconds back, this pit stop, by the time you get into pit road and exit pit road, is about a 25-second venture, which will knock Jose out of the lead, put Nicholas in first. It's going to move Michael Blackner back into second. It's just where Richie's going to come out with Jose is going to determine third place, last place on the podium.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think what Jose is trying to shoot for is pit as late as possible, and obviously use those fresher tires to your advantage. Because, I mean, Jose is still running quick lap times. Him and Nick are only 0.2 apart when it comes to the lap time. So we'll have to see how it ends up being for them. Like I said, I personally believe the 15 is going to leapfrog that 24 machine, but the only thing that could be the saving grace for the 24 is having those fresher tires, but he's going to have to do it soon.
Jason, I'm unvalidating myself every single time I talk. Justin had just thrown up that stat for pit road. If you can do it one more time, just to kind of shed some light on that, on the upper half of your screen. Jose is not pitted. Michael Blackner's not pitted. Coy has not pitted. Looks like Nicholas Moreau is the only one in that top 4 stat to make their pit stops. So there's going to be a little more shuffling around inside the top 10 than I initially expected. I'm just really surprised these guys have really extended out their runs as lot longer than like the 15 and everybody else has pitted this time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm very surprised that Jose Acosta and Richie Coy and Michael Blackner, especially Jose Acosta, have stayed out for this long. I mean, we're approaching in just a few laps. It's going to be 10 laps to go. They're going to fly by, like most of this race already has here. I mean, obviously these lap times, they take 1:22 to 1:19 to get around this place. But that's not a lot of time, man. And you think about it, too, with the 15 being so strong on the road courses, the fresher tires, now they're not as fresh, obviously, with the amount of laps he's put on them. But, I mean, he's quick, man. He's going to leapfrog this 24. I just don't know if it was the right call for Acosta to stay out as long as he had. The gap has kind of maintained. I want to say that. It's only closing about 3 to 4 tenths in a few laps. But I mean, for Jose, it's just going to be about, will those fresh tires paid off? In fact, he actually just ran his fastest lap time of the race last time around, 1:19.486. I don't know how in the heck he's doing this, but somehow, some way he's doing it. He's not nearly as fast as Nicholas Moreau's fast lap time. And actually, guess what? Nicholas Moreau, fastest lap time of the race. He said, all right, buddy, you want to play this game? I'm going to one-up you. Hold my beer. 1:18.925, fastest lap time of the race. The only driver to crack inside the 18-second bracket. I think personally, Jeremy, in my opinion, I think this 15 is going to leapfrog this 24, and I think he's going to set sail away with this win.
I was trying to debate if Jose was actually trying to save a little bit of fuel running the 121s, but no, he had some like reverse tire wear thing where he was in the 21s, 20s in the back. Jose Acosta, the past 5 laps, all 19 seconds, 19.7, 19.9, 19.5, and with that fastest one at 19.4 on lap 47, that means he's gunning for it. So I don't know. I don't know why you stay out so long, but then he cracks his fastest lap time. Like, do you see Ryan Hedrick? Oh, and Jose actually got involved with him as we were checking on the 15. I don't know if that's going to play any particular role as far as how much slower the 24 is going to go, but man, oh man, that's when you're leading the race and get involved in the wreck like that, that's a heartache there.
He's got damage. He's got damage to that right front. The right front fender is pushed in on that car. Going to see if we can take a look here at the drone camera. Look at that right front. It is pushed in. It is cracked up a little bit with that carbon composite body. That lap time was about 14.5 seconds. It got all the way down to 12.8. Now it's 13.4. So he's gained a little bit of time. Maybe Nick got involved in some heavy lap traffic possibly, but that was not what the 24 of Jose Acosta wanted. And in fact, Nicholas is actually going to be dealing with the 17, who's had a lot of issues all night, but good driver etiquette by Steve Loomis. Round of applause for myself up here in the booth. He's not only going to let the 15 by, he's going to let the 31 of Jeff Chandler by, who's the first car 1 lap down at this moment. Jeremy, and you talk about saving. I didn't even think about the 121s. In fact, Jose actually just ran a 121.5. So we could be looking at a one-stopper on this 24 car, man. He might just try to go all the way. I tell you what, if he does, he's got some balls on him if he does that.
You know, Danny LaFleur and Benjamin Tracy are kind of helping me out here on the YouTube side in the chat saying, you know, what think is going to happen. So the 15 definitely did not take tires. It was a fuel-only pit stop to get him to the end of the race. So, you know, filled up exactly maybe for a couple laps extra, then sent him on his way. And we're expecting, at least in the chats, for Jose Acosta, the same exact thing. Come down, just do a splash and go, maybe 3 gallons, and then he's going to be back out to complete this race if he has to pit. But I also see Danny said 36 laps on fuel from stage. So does that mean the 24 can actually make it? It's going to be tough.
I just don't know. I mean, think about it, Jeremy. He's going to have to save almost a second a lap somehow and let this 15 get right to his bumper, I think, if he wants to try. And obviously, we don't have, all the information of how much fuel he has left. Only he and his team have that inside that car, I mean, on the cockpit with the black box. It'll tell you how much fuel exactly that you have left. So he could have saved enough fuel to where he has just the right amount. I just don't, I can't believe he's been able to hold this gap. If this 24 wins here tonight on a one-stopper, I am going to be very, very impressed.
And Brian Fine is continuing to watch this. You better take some notes. You might be able to extend that in their race tomorrow because they run very similar distances between tonight's Mach-1 Performance Cup Series and the RSR Next Gen Cup Series on Tuesday. So, might want to bring out that notebook and say, hey, teammates, this is what I learned from this race because this might apply to us here tomorrow night. And you're seeing some action on the track here, some passing. Looks like the newcomer, Joseph, is going to be heading down pit road in that number 12 Ford Mustang.
And Grijalva, he's going to come down pit road in that beautiful black and red number 12 machine. Round of applause for him. He's got my two favorite colors. He's got my number on it. That wins paint scheme of the night for me for sure, obviously. But all jokes aside, this has been a great run for Grijalva tonight with a debut here in the Mach-1 Performance Cup Series. Definitely one of the road course guys for sure, just by the name and the sheer driving ability he has had in his cockpit in the sim rig tonight. I want to say that we're probably going to see more of him. Hopefully we will in the Mach-1 Performance Cup, maybe towards the end of the year here, obviously, with the last 4 races coming up here in the next 4 weeks. I think Joseph is probably here to stay because he's very fast on these road courses.
I'm telling you, that 12 looks like you slap a Verizon logo on there and you got that number 12 all over again from, 15 years ago? That has a little bit of that reminder
all
to me anyways.
colors.
That's right, all black with the red check there toward the front of the car. That's exactly what it reminds me of.
Yeah, that was an absolute beauty too. And obviously Justin Allgaier, he's no stranger to being very good at road courses. So maybe he decided to use that black and red number 12 with how Justin Allgaier got his first Xfinity Series win back at Bristol in 2009. That was one heck of a day for Allgaier, and just a great drive for the 12 here tonight. And here comes the 19 of Richie Coy. He has finally decided to give it up. So maybe, Jeremy, we could be looking at the potential of this 24 coming down pit road. We've seen the 12. We've seen the 19 now. Ooh. Will we see the 87? Will we see the 24? Oh, Brody Hanna collected right in front of our race leader. And that is not what Brody Hanna needed. He is involved in a massive crash heading down into the bus stop. Brian Dublé looked like he was just running his own race and unfortunately overshoots the corner. He's going to hit these turtles right here, I believe, and he's going to go flying into the 23 of Brody Hanna. Pow, right to the left rear. Definitely going to be a broken toe link probably on that 23. Nearly sends him over in the bus stop.
Brody Hanna continues to stay on track, running at speed. It looks like from my angle, so he might be okay. Maybe slight toe damage. We'll have to find out. But yeah, look exactly how Tony Solari did. It just overdrove the bus stop entrance, drove it down low onto the turtles in the bus stop, and ramps it. And this time just unfortunately collects the 23 in the left rear tire. But it looks like he's okay. As you see the 87 Michael Blackner, he is making his pit stop. So this really tells me that Jose is going to be on fumes if he can make it the rest of the way. One of the very last cars to come down pit road.
Definitely. I think Jose is going to be absolutely running on fumes. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if he runs out of gas on the last lap. If he does, in fact, decide and elect to stay out all the way. I mean, Nicholas Moreau has made up a significant amount of time now. It is into the single-digit seconds now. It is almost 10 seconds. It's 9.8, 9.7 seconds now. I think, oh, here we go. The 24 decides to come in this time. It could be a fuel-only stop for this 24 machine. We'll have to see here. I just don't think he's going to be able to beat the 15, but we'll see what happens.
Definitely not. The 15's already in 16 and 17, going to be crossing the line this time. He was 9.5 back from that 24 last lap by. So as he goes through turn number 1, new leader 15 Nick Moreau with a massive lead now. Since Michael Blackner has made his pit stop, there is a 32-second gap between this 15 and the 87. So that means the 24 is going to slide into second place, no problem here. So I'm going to lose 1 spot in this transfer. And then Nick Moreau all of a sudden has a very, very comfortable lead here with only 6 or 7 laps remaining.
Thing happens with this 15, he's got this locked up. 6.5, 7 laps to go. I think he's got this. Daniel Simmons, he is elected to come down to the pit road now from that 4th position. Michael Blackner moves up to 3rd. Richie Coy very well could get 4th here from Daniel Simmons. Man, we're going to have to ask this 24 machine of Jose Acosta during post-race, Jeremy, why he decided to stay out for so long, which I really questioned it. But then when we started seeing the 12 pit, the 19 pit, we were like, okay, this might not work for the 24. Then when I saw the 87 pit, I said, oh no, this is not going to work out. This 24 is going to have to pit. And who knows how much time he's going to lose or what the gap's going to look like. Sure enough, comes out of the pits. He's more than 13 seconds back. It is now 14.3 seconds to that 15 of Nicholas Moreau. I'm just very, very confused as to why the 24 decided to stay out for long. Maybe he did think he could make it, but definitely not a call I would have made.
Well, the only saving grace there, at least for his argument, is they both only took gas. They did not take tires. So it didn't matter if he pitted early or late. He came out with the same exact tires, or at least the race finish. They're going to have the same amount of laps regardless of when they pitted. The difference would have been, running more gas or less gas in the tank. That weight can play a difference of how fast or how slow your car goes. And definitely played in Nick Moreau's favor. For sure, being 15 seconds ahead of the 24, and that's probably the only saving grace he has to say that. But you never know as they're coming up to 5 laps to go.
Yeah, with 5 laps to go, this 15 is about to put the 23 of Brody Hanna a lap down. Obviously, Brody's still in 8th, so he still has a shot. We're going to have to see once this race is over. We'll have to see what the points are going to look like. Obviously, remember, Brody was able to lead a few laps here tonight, so definitely going to be some valuable bonus points. Maybe Michael Blackner will lose a spot. Maybe Brody will gain a spot on Chad Lang. We'll have to see. He's only 3 seconds back to Chad Lang, so one more position could mean all much for Brody Hanna as he gets really loose there out of turn number 1. And with 5 laps to go, this looks to be Nicholas Moreau's race for sure.
Chad Lang right now has 1 spot over Brody Hanna. Those guys are 1 point separated at the start of this race. So just those 2 alone are deadlocked depending on, well, actually Brody did lead a lap. So they're going to be 1 point advantage, I think, to the 23s. You see the 84, Jamie Knopf getting a little off course run there through the grass off the exit of turn number 4, but he keeps that thing going straight. No harm, no foul for the 84.
No harm, no foul. Just not a night that Jamie Knopf needed for sure. And it looks like he's almost going to go offline again. And there he is right there. Just not a night that Jamie Knopf needed. Ever since that turn 1 incident, it has just not gone his way at all.
It really hasn't. There's late in the going, you're spent as far as your mental capacity, your physical capacity probably at this point in this race. And so when you have a finish like that, you're just like, man, I just want to park this thing and hang it up. But you got to stick out. Just a couple more laps left to go in this race.
Yeah, with a couple more laps to go, Nicholas Moreau, he's been doing one hell of a job going from a spin to possibly a win here. The only one to crack the 18-second bracket within the 1 minute range. I mean, just such a strong run for Nicholas Moreau. He's always a guy that we can look for on these road courses week in and week out when we head to them and head out of them knowing, hey, Nicholas Moreau, he's one of the guys to beat. Here he is spoiling the playoff picture possibly from one of these guys trying to get an opportunity to win here tonight, and he's looking to put another one up on the board.
Yep, looking to do so here. And we're going to do a shout out real quick before we bring this thing to a close. That's going to be from Dusty Pete's, the official hobby shop for the Nerditudes. The hobby store with a whole lot more. They are based out of New York, and Dusty Pete's is your one-stop shop for many things nerdy. So if collecting is the game, Dusty Pete's is the name. From figurines and action figures to collectible cards such as Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, and any sports trading cards, even to die-cast replicas, Dusty Pete's is the place. And they have a bunch of comics. So if you're looking to up your comic collection, Dusty Pete's is going to be your one-stop shop for that as well. Plethora of comic books for any nerds, young and old. So if you're into collecting many things nerdy, then visit the official hobby shop partner of the Nerditudes at dustypetes.com, and Super Nerd at checkout will save you 10% off your entire order.
Definitely some things we all got to go check out for sure. Still gotta buy a few stickers and die casts from him, because that website is definitely cool. And what's going to be the cool is obviously seeing who's going to make this round of 8 here, and the points are already looking really tight just from the pre-calculations that I've been doing. Obviously, we'll talk about them post race, and it looks like we'll give you the obviously round of 8. This 15 though, looking to spoil this party here with 2.5 laps to go. He's pulled away from Jose Acosta. Nicholas Moreau still setting sail here in 1.
Yeah, 100% there. 2.5 laps to go at this point. Jose has made a whole second up since he came off pit road, but obviously being 14.5 back, not going to be able to get to the 15 unless Nick makes a mistake, which on these road courses especially, Nicholas Moreau, that is very few and far between each mistake that 15 can make. And he only has to pass just a few more lap cars at most. And right now he's running a very comfortable race, not pushing the issue. But still, I say that lap looks so clean and easy. But he ran a 19.0 that last lap by, followed by 19.2. Still the fastest car on the track, but he's making it look stupid easy right now.
Yeah, definitely, to say the least. I mean, he's just really looking to just keep on doing a good job like he's done all night. Same with Jose Acosta, just a heartbreaker, because Acosta has been there every single week since he debuted back around the Watkins Glen week. He has been nothing but fast out of the gate. You could say that this guy probably could have won realistically, Jeremy, let's face it, every single race that he's been in. But either it's just been a mistake of his own, strategy didn't go his way, or a wreck that he was unfortunately collected. And I think his biggest win that probably could have been was Bristol, being too aggressive, wrecked himself late in the going. Just unfortunate circumstances there. And tonight just looks like poor strategy is what's going to cost him this win.
Yeah, I mean, he had the speed for sure. The front half of the race, no doubt the 24 was top 2, top 3 contender, but the 15 has just really stretched this run out, made the correct pit stall, or pit timing there in the race to get himself set up for this win here this evening. And points check for Jamie Knopp from Benjamin Tracy. Well, if we jump to the points here, yeah, we're going to see Jamie Knopp came in -45 of your race leader. He was plus 11, plus 12 at the cut line. So as long as he finishes, within 12 positions of those guys, I think we're going to be just fine. And Jamie Knopp right now sitting in the race, P17. His competitors are only about 5 spots ahead. Jamie Knopp has no problem to end this race and make it to the round of 8, as he gets off track a little bit more.
Yeah, just not the night Jamie Knopp needed, obviously. He's just continuing to go off track time and time again. But this 15 of Nicholas Moreau, man, he's been so fast, lights out since the start of this race. Started in the 2nd spot from a spin to possibly a win. He's just got to hang on for a few more corners, and he's going to win here at the Charlotte Roval.
Just a handful of corners left here. I think this is 9, 10, 11, 12, if my numbers serve me right, for corners as they go to the bus stop for the final time. Ramps them perfectly, clean exit. We got 2 more oval corners, 2 more road course corners, and Mr. Nick Moreau is going to pick up another checker flag here in the Mach-1 Performance Cup Series late into 2023 season overall. 16, 17, checker flag. Nicholas Moreau with a Martin Sports winning moment, playing the dominant strategy and the dominant lap times, will bring home the checker flag once more this year.
Great run by Nicholas Moreau. Just, a continuously stellar job every time he hops into this car here in the 15 machine. Unfortunately, Daniel Fleur, his teammate, was not able to finish the race tonight. Probably could have been another one who could have played a factor. Remember, the 15 to 24 got together towards the end of that initial stage, got through, picked up that stage win. So maybe the 15 could have had some competition, but it just wasn't that meant to be for those guys. 15, great job here tonight.
Yeah, the rest of the competition is still crossing the start-finish line here. The number 12, Joseph Grijalva. He is the last person to do it. He's actually at the bus stop right now, making his final corner. So it just shows you how big of a lead this 15 had over the field. Only 6 cars on the lead lap, 7th on back, 1 lap down or more. And we're waiting for the 12 to cross the line for this thing to be all official here. And the 15's already hit the turn 3 and turn 4 oval. And now Joseph crosses the line there to finish 6th place. So just a dominant performance there for the 15. We're going to watch him do a burnout, and we're actually going to go over the unofficial finishing results here for the Charlotte Roval 200. 15, Nicholas Moreau is going to bring it home P1, Jose Acosta P2, Michael Blackner 3rd, Richie Coy 4th, Daniel Simmons 5th, Joseph Grijalva in 6th, 7th place, 1 lap down, Chad Lang, 8th place, Brody Hanna, 9th place, Jeff Chandler, and 10th place, the 14 of Lane Allen.
Yeah, then you have 11th, Colby Mice, 12th, Wallace, 13th, road course ringer Tony Solari, 14th, Wayne Grassi, 15th, TJ Bartel, 16th, Brian Dublé, 17th, tough night for Jamie Knott. Same goes for Ryan Hedrick in 18th. 19th goes to Steve Loomis, 20th, Stephen Hollingsworth, and 21st goes to James Torrey there in the 6 machine.
22nd, Danny LaFleur, 23rd, Colton Gum, 24th, Ryan Chapman, and Kyle Milliken of the 42 after getting wrecking himself on lap 2, going to end his night early. Last place, 25th. And we're going to kick it to our full screen commercial break and gather up tonight's top 3 being Nicholas Moreau, Jose Acosta, and Michael Blackner. And we'll be back after a few messages.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And welcome everyone back to Nerd TV for the Martin Sports Post Race Show, where we got our top three gathered up here this evening. At least third and second are ready to go for the post race interview. So we're going to bring in that third place finisher, Mr. Michael Blackner, in the '87 Sheets Ford Mustang. Michael, do you have a copy?
Yep, go ahead.
Hey man, very good race overall. You showed some excellent speed all race long. A couple minor mishaps there, but overall still brought it home P3. How did you think the Roval was going to go for you this evening?
I'll be honest, as much as I like road courses, I really don't like the Roval. It's it's definitely a I don't got words for it. As for the race itself, I was hoping to come away with the win and win my way in, but when I seen the speed that Jose and Nick Moreau and I think it was Danny LaFleur had, I kind of realized, okay, this ain't gonna be a fight Lane Allen or a Richie Coy kind of night. It's gonna be take what you can get and just hope for the best. And if you get the win, it might be luck or who knows. But yeah, it went as good as I could have hoped, all considered.
And Michael, obviously, congratulations on the third place run. I'm going to break some news to you. You have made the round of 8 from the calculated points from what it looks like, obviously. Now you set yourself up for these next 3 races, man. What do you think you got to make a run for this championship?
So I told my teammates months ago, back before the playoffs started, that I'm going to throw all my marbles into Bristol because that's one of my better short tracks, and the Roval because one, it's a road course, and two, it's a difficult road course. I mean, I'll be honest, any other road course in the world would be much favorable over this personally, but I'm just gonna have to do a little extra homework compared to everybody else. I know I'm lacking a little bit in the points, even once this all shakes out. Uh, I don't think, I really don't think I'll make it to the final four. But if I do, well, I just hope for the best there. It's gonna be tough going forward.
I'm not sure how you perform at Phoenix every time you race there, but I know it's kind of similar with the flatter corners to maybe kind of how you performed tonight. So that might work in your favor. Not entirely sure if that translates or not from your seat, but yeah, you have a locked in chance now for the round of 8 to do very well. You performed well here tonight, so even though you don't like this place, you brought it home third place comfortably. So great job overall for performing well at a track you don't like. But the floor is yours. Final thoughts before we let you go this evening.
I just want to say thank you to you guys for broadcasting, putting this on. I want to thank my teammates at Fury for all the help they've done getting me to this point, being supportive as they have been. My girlfriend Brianna for being supportive. Sheets, Ford. It's it's gonna be tough going forward. Gonna hope for the best. Phoenix, I had some good speed at earlier this year. At this point, the game plan is just gonna be winging a prayer and hope I make it that far.
Well, I wish you all the luck, sir, in that next 3 races. So you can go ahead and celebrate and enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll catch you next Monday.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. And that was third place finisher Michael Blackner, and it looks like we only have Jose left here. I don't know if Nicholas Murray, our race winner, is going to make it, but we're going to wait it out here for a moment. But right now, we're going to bring in the number 24, Mr. Jose Acosta. Jose, do you have a copy?
I do.
Hey man, congratulations on the strong P2 run there. Complete different strategy amongst the top 5 of when you were going to pit. You had us scratching our heads thinking, can this guy really do it on one pit stop? And you brought it down with just a handful of laps left. Was that your initial game plan, was to try to stretch to the end, or were you just on a different strategy from the get-go?
To be honest, I was not even thinking of that. I was just racing and making sure I had a clean road in front of me, basically traffic. So that's why I didn't really pit. And then when I saw traffic, I kind of gambled a little bit and said to myself, like, can I pass them, without wrecking? And then I went for it, whatever. But not really a strategy. I was just racing, trying to basically learn the track too. I was a lot faster today than my race yesterday, so I feel a lot better just for that.
Obviously, congratulations on finishing P2, man. I was saying it earlier to Jeremy up here in the booth, man, when we were watching you go around here at the Charlotte Roval. Man, ever since you came onto the scene here for FTSR, man, you have been right in the mix almost every single time. You could have won Bristol, mishaps, could have won tonight. Strategy just didn't go your way. Could have won Watkins Glen, could have won Kansas, this, that, you name it, man. What do you think it's going to take for you to try to get to victory lane before the end of this season?
Just patient. Just keep driving. Keep doing what I'm doing. Basically, today was really hard to pass lap car, uh, too. So I don't know. I guess the blue and the blue flag doesn't mean anything for a couple of drivers too. So I mean, patient. Basically, I think it's just gonna come by itself. I don't have to push it. I'm not really uh you know, focusing every race on winning, just kind of like, learning. I'm in several of the leagues, so I'm just taking this as a learning curve and trying to practice a little bit longer, basically.
Well, you continue to impress us up here in the booth each and every single week we see you. So just continue to get at it, man, and a victory will come your way sooner than later. But the floor is yours. Final thoughts before we let you go this evening.
I'm just gonna give a shout out to my brother. He was actually my spotter today. And that's why I actually went a little bit faster today. He told me a couple tips today. Um, Shout out to Nicolas. He was really fast. And to Michael for the third place. You guys in the booth, and I give a shout out to my sponsor, ISI Elite Training Team, and the WolfpackCrew.com, apparel clothes, and to Wolfpack Racing Team.
All right, man. Well, appreciate your time. Go ahead and celebrate the rest of the evening, and we will catch you next Monday.
Thanks.
Yes, sir. And that was driver number 24 of the Wolfpack Racing Team, Jose Acosta. And I do not see our race winner in the Discord just yet. So we're going to start to bring this thing down to a close. If we see him come in, we'll get a late interview in. But we're going to close this thing down. Jason Roval, we did not know how it was going to perform. Actually, you know what? Hold up. 15 Moreau is in the waiting room. So he snuck in. We're going to try to bring him in here. Nick Moreau, I know you just jumped in here, but congratulations on the win here this evening. How you feeling?
Oh man, I'm fully exhausted. I need some water, and I just, by the way, sorry to be late because babies wake up and I'm alone at home, so I won't be too able to stay a long time. But yeah, so very nice race. I knew that the car was great. Yeah, so I missed my second lap in the qualify, so I missed the pole. It's very hard to pass, and Jose was really fast, and his line was hard to pass too. So I hit him. I didn't see the replay, so I just thought that he was giving me some room, but we just made some contact. So I apologize. It was my fault. I don't know yet. So, but it was not my intention for sure. And after that, I said it was really hard to pass a fast guy. So I was like, I need to, to be on front for a clean air, because I knew that the car was faster than just by following someone.
And Nick, obviously, congratulations on winning here tonight, man. And I guess my question for you would be, were you surprised that Jose stayed out as long as he did?
Yeah, yes. Because when I pit, I wanted to pit before him, and I thought he was pitting. I didn't know about his strategy, but at his place, I would pit one lap after, just to be in the same pace, in the same traffic. But it was not the case, and I knew from there that I was faster lap after lap. So I was like, okay, I'm good, because I knew that he cannot put fresh tire. So from there, it was good.
Well, congrats once more, man. We won't hold you too much longer. You said you jump out of here, but final thoughts before we let you go.
Yeah, so thank you for my teammates who test the setup for me for all week long, and thanks for my sponsor Transit Gato Mami. Thanks for you guys, and it's not easy for all lap cars, I would say, to give some room, but sometimes it's hard, I know. So thanks for all of them, and thanks for the league.
All right, man. Well, appreciate you. Go ahead and celebrate the rest of the evening. Congratulations once more on the victory.
Thank you guys. Yeah.
Yes, sir. That was number 15, Nick Moreau, picking up yet another checker flag here for the 2023 overall season. And Jason, I was asking you, this is a very head scratcher coming into this thing. Was it going to be fun? Was it going to be boring? And I think this was clearly the most entertaining road course of the year.
Yeah, I'd probably say so, more than likely, Jeremy. I mean, the drama we had, the lead changes, the intensity towards the end of the race there. I mean, we didn't know if Jose was going to make it. We didn't know if Nick was going to get into lap traffic. It is what it is. But, obviously now we look ahead now to these next 3 races. We have our 8 drivers, and just by the look of it, from what it looks like with the points I added up, Richie Coy and Lane Allen, obviously, they advanced based off their wins from Texas and Talladega. Jeff Chandler is 3rd, looks like. Michael Blackner makes it in 4th. Chad Lang 5th. Brody Hanna 6th. Jamie Knopf 7th. And then 8th is kind of questionable because I wasn't sure. We'll have to see, obviously, when the points are updated. Obviously, you can go to their website to look at when the points do, in fact, get updated. But by the look of it, it looks to be Wayne Grossi. But with Robert Malikian being able to take one of 2 of those, basically last place points, like we talked about, Jeremy, on the break. If that were the case, he were to take those points, if he was eligible to, he would beat out Wayne Grossi for the final transfer spot by just 1 point.
Ooh.
1 point. 1 position is all it mattered to Wayne Grossi tonight. That could be what makes or breaks his chance to compete for a championship. But if that is the case, your 8th seeded guy coming into the round of 8 is going to be Robert Malikian. And then also, you got to think to yourself, too, Sherwood Williford, Robert Malikian, they didn't show up. Kyle Milliken, Ryan Hedrick, they were out early on. There was a lot of factors that went into this race. Obviously, the points were shook up big time there at the end of that race. So obviously we'll see once the points get updated to see if it's either going to be the 7 or obviously Robert Malikian who makes it into the round of 8.
Well, I just clicked the refresh on the page, and that is holding true. Robert Malikian by 1 point gets into the round of 8. It is updated on the website. So check out all the stats. Head over to FTSR.net to look at it. But Robert Malikian right now showing 1 point above the cut line. And that's so tough there from the 7 Wayne Grossi to see that whenever he sees it, he's gonna be just so close. So close. That's tough, man. That's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow. But you know something too, Jeremy, that's just the way that these playoffs were presented to us, obviously, and with the implications of stage racing nowadays, ever since 2017, and then with the implementation of this, the chase for the cup, or the playoffs, what we call it nowadays, that were implemented back in 2014. These were these Game 7 type moments that you had to have. Ryan Hedrick had to win this race pretty much. Couldn't do it. Wayne Grossi, just 1 position short here tonight. I mean, just an absolute heartbreaker for him here tonight. And you want to know what the sad thing is that he was only 2 seconds away from passing Tony Solari to probably tie that gap. But obviously, I'm no stat guy. I know I usually am. I didn't know who would have had the better position finishing wise in this round. It could have been Robert. It could have been Wayne, but definitely a tough situation for Wayne Grossi, who has been getting faster week in and week out in these playoffs.
Yeah, and Wayne would have had the top 8 spot because he would have had more points tonight than Malikian if he were to pass that car that was only 2 seconds ahead of him. So that was the only difference from making a break in the round 8. So when we get to the championship 4, I have a very similar story of last second decision on who's going to make it, who's not. But we're going to bring this thing to a close here tonight. Thank all of our partners one last time. Before we do so, thank you to FTSR, Full Throttle Sim Racing for letting us do this for you for a year and a half, almost 2 years at this point. And if you want to check out everything for this league, go to FTSR.net. Mach-1 Performance, tonight's Monday Night Cup Series sponsor. It's a race car fabrication shop that's produced champions and winners of all sorts of racing divisions. Find them at Facebook at facebook.com/Mach-1 Performance. Sim Racing Points. It's your all-inclusive league points management system that allows you to completely track your league stats and more with one simple upload of the race export. Visit them at simracingpoints.com. Martin Sports, top quality apparel to make you look stylish and feel comfortable. See the whole apparel lineup at martinsports.gg. iRacing iFlag, get your notifications a fraction of a second faster without ever leaving the focus from the racing action, and you'll find them at iRacingIFlag.com. Butt Kicker, the ultimate feel from a race car with their haptic response system, and check out everything they have to offer your sim rig at thebuttkicker.com. Team Watson Racing setups, quality professionally built setups for your asphalt oval needs, and they're going to find them at teamwatsonracing.com. Dusty Pete's Gifts and Collectibles, hobby shop with a whole lot more. If collecting is the game, Dusty Pete's is the name, and find them at dustypete's.com. And lastly, Roasted Gems Coffee, premium coffee beans roasted just for you. Start your day the right way with coffee from Roasted Gems Coffee at roastedgems.com. All right, guys, this is it for us tonight here for the FTSR Mach-1 Performance Cup Series. Tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central, you're going to catch us with the best one entire RSR Next Gen Cup Series as they're going to tackle the Roval as well. Should be a blast for us to call and for you guys to watch. Until then, stay safe. Get your nerd on.